Hi there, my name is Josh Brady. I have been in the fire service for now a little bit over 15 years total. I am actually still currently serving in the Iowa Air National Guard. I've been there for 15 years. I was on a career department at the airport fire department for 4 years, and now currently I'm on a career department with the city of West Des Moines, and I've been over with there for about 2 years. I actually contemplated on numerous different topics, but I kept coming back to the most current event, which is crazy to think about what the times that we're living in. The historic COVID-19, aka coronavirus, it's simply unprecedented. I mean, the only thing in my lifetime that I can somewhat compare it to would be 9/11, and that's a little bit, or completely different actually. But it's what my brain keeps coming back to try to compare it to something, but there just isn't anything. At first, it was just actually annoying. Is what my first thought was with this coronavirus, and there was a lot of jokes that was going around about it, and people were feeling like everything was getting blown out of proportion. But once it hit America, people started to wise up and realize that this just wasn't going to go away, and that we had to take some sort of action and have an active risk reduction strategy. The biggest eye opener to me was when they started shutting down all the sports, starting with the NBA, and then the next day with the NCAA conference tournaments, they shut those down, and then the next day canceled the NCAA tournament altogether. And obviously that's extremely disappointing, especially to me being a huge March Madness fan. There's so much information that's coming out. There's something new coming out to combat this disease on the national level, the state level, and the local level, and with our local departments. And for now, over a week, there's something on a daily basis that's some sort of new info or new precaution that's coming out. The most recent statistics that I have received from our EMS assistant chief is that the total cases worldwide is now 198,722. The worldwide deaths is approaching 8,000, not quite there, but U.S. total cases is 6,509. The U.S. total deaths is 115. Iowa cases in my state's 23, and we don't have any deaths. Hopefully it continues to be that way. I think everyone is doing actually a really good job in following the CDC Center, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, their advice, the president's advice, the governor, and our local department's recommendations. Our governor in Iowa has shut down, actually today, as of noon, interior operations for restaurants and bars, fitness centers, theaters, casinos, mass gatherings, and other senior citizen centers to combat the spread of this virus. Our department, from the city of West Des Moines, has implemented COVID-19 SOPs, or standard operating procedures, directing all personnel exactly how to handle different situations. For one, when emergency is called in, it goes to our dispatch center like normal. A person then talks directly to the dispatcher and is asked actually quite a few different questions that is out of the ordinary. The dispatcher's trying to gather some information to determine if that patient might have the virus, or if there's at least a good potential. So we've actually been recently supplied with special PPE packs for this virus, and if it's determined that the patient, through the number of questions, possibly has those signs and symptoms, then we have specific direction on how to respond. If there's two different scenarios, one if it's life-threatening and the other if it's not. If it's life-threatening, there's going to be usually 1 or 2 firefighters. We're going to don our gown, face mat, gloves, our N95 masks if there's a life-threatening disease, and go in and help the patient. If it's non-life-threatening, we're going to have our PPE ready, but not necessarily go in unless we're directed to. And actually, also on that, just recently, our fire chief has directed us to do a number of things just by coming on shift, and our whole daily shift life, and how we're going to try to combat and try to manage the risk of becoming infected with that also. Effective immediately, he just said that we are closing our stations to the general public. So we're not giving station tours, truck tours, and we're not accepting any food from the public that has been dropped at the station. And there's no fire inspections and fire safety and prevention or community activities, and all of those kind of events are being canceled as of now. We have specific instructions for coming on shift. Employees coming on to duty have to congregate in the apparatus bay door and wait for the shift that is going off duty to leave before we can even go there. As long as we stand 6 feet away, we can pass on certain, obviously, shift information of, like, prior calls if anything happens to the truck and all that other stuff that we need to pass on. Then the off-duty shift needs to leave right away. Then immediately the oncoming shift has to do some station cleaning, where we sanitize everything that's been possibly touched by the other shift. Before any breakfast or anything, all that stuff is made, we have to disinfect touch points. And so it's crazy, the times that we're living in, but in order to figure out how to best combat this, we need to take it seriously and remember what the overall goal is: to lessen the chance of passing sickness to ourselves, to our fellow employees, and to any of the public and our families. That is what is most important, and that is why we had to come up with some sort of risk management. Thanks.